Hello, thanks for tuning in. I wanted to do a video showing how you can use Logic Pro 10 as a 16 channel MIDI sequencer, triggering samples from an external hardware synthesizer module. I'm using an Alesis QSR. You might be using something different like a Yamaha MU50 or a Roland JV1010 or something like that. There's not a lot of information out there about how to do this, so I thought I'd do a quick video to show you. Basically, your setup is your MIDI out from your audio interface or your MIDI output adapter, whatever you're using. The output goes to the input, MIDI input on the external hardware device. It's normally 5-pinned in on the old devices. And then the audio left and right outputs from the external module. I've got it going into inputs 3 and 4 on my audio interface, so it'll be coming back into the computer. And I'm using a small little M Audio MIDI controller to trigger the sounds. So basically it's quite straightforward. We are going to create 16 MIDI tracks and an audio track. So here we go. Right, so the first thing you do is you select external MIDI. Now the thing is, do not check the use external instrument plugin box. Leave that blank. This is my MIDI out here. I'm going to select MIDI channel 1. I'm going to leave the ascending box checked. Type in 16 and then create. So we've created 16 external MIDI tracks, and they all have these generic icons on them, which I don't really need. So I'm going to change those to look like this. And then we're going to select, we're going to create an audio track. And I've got my audio outs on the Alesis coming back into inputs 3 and 4. So we'll select those, one track, create, and then check the switch on the input monitoring so we can hear the sound coming back. All right, so there we go. We've got MIDI channel 1. If you look on my QSR, I have to have it set to mix mode. And I have an initial mix mode which has all 16 channels. If you look along the bottom of the green screen there, you'll see channel 1 flashing. So I'm working on channel 1, so I'm going to leave it on channel 1. It's going to reflect what we do here in Logic. We're going to, first of all, by clicking on the icon here on the track, we're going to get a dialog box which shows us our banks. Now, according to my manual, bank message in the Alesis is control 0, so I'm going to select that. And all of these banks have not been named, and that's why you want to save this as a template when you've finished, because you're going to name all of these banks and all of the patches in the banks. So let's start out with the first bank. Have a look what happens. I'm going to select bank 0, grand piano. And you'll see on my unit it's changed to preset 1, patch 000. And it's not called grand piano, it's called true stereo. Now I'm going to recommend, first of all, you scroll down here and find your general MIDI bank, because it's easy to name that. You don't really have to do much. I think it's number 4 on mine. Sometimes it'll ask you to initialize, and it hasn't worked for some reason. Oh, here we go. So very important, over on the left here on the track, for Logic to send out this information and for the unit to receive it, you have to check this box where it says program and bank. And now when I select bank 4, you'll see the unit has changed to bank general MIDI. And you don't really have to name all these because they're standard names, so you can click the options box and select init general MIDI names. And they've all come up. They're very slightly different. Alesis gave them slightly different names, but they're basically the same, so you don't really have to do much. If I click on fretless bass, you'll see it says fretless bass. If I click on oboe, you'll see it says oboe. So that's the general MIDI bank done. We will go back to this bank 0, which is the user bank. You see it now says user. These names are all going to be different, so you've got to go through all of your banks and name them, and then once you've done that, save it as a template. That way you won't lose it all. So I'll just name a few of them quickly. On my user bank, I've got acid metals. So you highlight, use your scroll arrows, you can highlight the first one, hit the return key and type in acid metals and just hit return. The next one is just called AI, so I'll press return, type in AI and return and scroll down. We got alien metal, so press return, alien metal. Go down to the fourth one, and it's aliens. Whoops. Return, so I can type it in. Aliens. I'll just do those four for now on the user bank. So you can see it's a little bit time consuming, but once you've done it all, like I say, keep your template saved, and you can always open it and start a new project. And all these names will still be in there. Let's try the next bank. See what we get. All right, so you see there's nothing in here. So the first one, I'll click on that. So this is the they call it preset 1 bank on this unit. So I'm going to double click that. Call it true stereo, which is what it says on the screen. Next one is titanium 88. Oops, I keep forgetting to titanium 88. So on and so forth. What I do is so that I can see when I click on this, I really don't know which bank I'm looking at. So on the very first ones, what I tend to do is I'll type in pre-1. So when I open this box and look up here, I can see immediately which bank I'm looking at. For this one, I'd probably put in user. I didn't use capital letters there. It looks a bit more. And then the fourth one here was general MIDI. So what I'd do with that is put in GM. So when we finished all this, you can go down. This will be pre-2, pre-3, and that's called card A1. So when I look up here, I know what bank I'm selecting. I don't have to think about it. So let's do a little recording then. So let's pick the user bank, and well, actually let's go with general MIDI. Do a little piano first, and select that. I don't know why loop's on. Switch that off. Make sure this is on, and we can do a little recording. All right. So let's say we want to record another instrument. We'll select channel 2. I'm going to change this on my unit so that you can see what's being. You don't really have to do this, it'll still play the sounds, but if you want to see on your external unit the same names that you're looking at in Logic that you're selecting, you can do that. If you look at the bottom of my screen, I'm going to select this to 2. So you can see the 2's flashing there. Make sure we select this checkbox here so that we're actually sending information. The loop's off, I don't know why it was on the other one. And double click this and we'll find another bank. Let's go with the user bank, and we'll see what this acid metal sounds like. Sounds terrible. In fact, it's so bad. Let's try something else. Let's go pre-1. Now we can still select these unnamed patches. They're still going to give us that says Fat Strat. You can see on the screen there. This one's medium section, so med section. So that would have. We're going to name that if you sit and go name them, but it's not named right now. But we'll record some of that. string section, so that's on our second channel. Let's go with channel 3, and I'm going to move the cursor on the Alesis. You see it's flashing 3 now, so when I select the patches and the banks and patches here, it'll show us what we're looking at. Let's go with this pre-1. I know these are piano sounds, so let's try something a little different. See on the unit it says true mellow. Sounds like some kind of guitar. You see there's nothing changing. That's because I forgot to check this box over here on the left in the inspector. So it's our third MIDI channel. We've got that set up to record. Recordings for demonstration purposes only. It's pretty naff, but you can see the idea. So we're set. We can play 16 sounds, select them from Logic, and play them back simultaneously. And down here we've got a volume control, which we can adjust the level of playback on each of the channels. And that's basically it. So you can pull out your old synth modules and put them to good use. There's quite a bit more to it. When you if you try to bounce this out as a WAV file or MP3, I found that it actually never stops bouncing for some reason, because it's got an external module in. So once you've got all your sounds recorded and sequenced and quantized and the way you want them, it's best to record them as audio, each track separately, and that way you can manipulate them even further with with effects and whatever you want to do with them, and then you can do your mix using those tracks rather than these. But this is kind of old school way of using Logic as a sequencer, and hope you found it useful. Thanks for watching. You got any comments or suggestions or something I might have missed? Let me know in the comments below. Perhaps subscribe if you feel like it, and we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.